Haven't you ever heard of a killer? I drop bombs like Hiroshima.
Somebody said, look at Leak You video. What the fuck is Leak You? Is it like a site? What's Leak You? Leak You. Is it a YouTube channel? Oh, shit. Oh, all right, bet. Here we go.
Come on in, y'all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are across the world, of course. I've got some breaking news that I need to make you all aware of. May just shock you a little bit. In the meantime, make sure that you follow my podcast platform, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and Google Podcasts. If you're on Facebook, send me a star. I'm now monetized on Facebook, and all of your donations get poured right back into the platform so that I can continue to give you phenomenal content that you absolutely deserve. And I appreciate each and every one of you for all of your support. Now that I got that out the way, we had to do this. Holy baby, I got something to show you guys. And honestly, I feel like I should show you the U.S. Space Force commercial that our United States government just dropped. Now, Donald Trump, he hasn't done many good things, in my opinion, but that is my opinion. But Donald J. Trump, first president, institute United States Space Force. Now, keep in mind that the United States Space Force has been really operated under various other branches of the military, specifically the Air Force, the Navy. And then Donald Trump signed those papers and said, hey, we now have a United States Space Force, but no one's really asked themselves, like, what are we protecting ourselves from in space? Well, I come out here almost every day and I tell you all stories and things that come from insiders, okay? Things that sound unreal. All right? Things that sound absolutely unreal, sometimes the things that come out of my mouth. And I'm sorry if that's crazy for you, but we are not alone, all right? We are not alone. We've never been alone, all right? We have never been alone, and there's so many stars in the sky, and, I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on, all right? I could go on and on and on in regards to, some of the let me shut up, let me shut up. Let me show you what our United States Space Force just dropped today. They just tweeted this today. So if you had any question in your mind on whether or not we humanoids, Homo sapien, are alone, I really feel like this should pretty much clear that up at this point. Now, some of you may not want to admit to yourselves that there are other creatures walking on this earth that are humanoid in appearance, maybe has, gray skin, pink skin, bronze skin, green skin, blue skin. I mean, look at Krishna. We could look at history all over the world going back centuries. And you may not believe it, but I can assure you, you're going to be the one left in the dust. Now, is it possible that some of these so-called alien beings are demons, aka part of these fallen angels, a third of heaven thrown down with Satan, right? I believe so. But I also believe that there are other beings that come from other planets, and that we're not just dealing with a situation where it's just demons. Some of these creatures are benevolent. If you had any question on whether or not there are other beings or entities that the United States has no idea how to handle, that's why people are seeing craft in the sky daily at this point. It is happening daily. You should check out the missing 411 UFO connection. I could get into it real deep. 13 bloodlines, all of that type of stuff. All right. And there are beings that live in our inner earth that are reptile-like. Now, I know the Bible said a serpent convinced Eve to take a bite of that piece of fruit. That serpent didn't mean it had to be a snake. It could have been snake-like, right? But that's a story for another day. Check out our new commercial that your tax dollars and my tax dollars all paid for. And I don't really care about that. It's the contents within. And I want you to listen very closely to what is being said.
Today, space is essential not only to our way of life, it's absolutely critical to the modern way of war. GPS, ATMs, cell phones, gas pumps, traffic lights, power grids, guided missiles, surveillance, RPAs, ground combat control. There's no such thing as a day without space operations. You just don't see them. Earth is only half the battle. Cyber attacks and jamming of our satellites. Microsatellites that can create a debris field. At 17,000 miles an hour, a piece of metal the size of a coin can be weaponized. Now is the time for a military branch with a clear and singular focus on space. A military branch that protects the hopes and dreams of America and our way of life as the space domain becomes more and more contested. It's time for another giant leap. The United States Space Force is being built from the brightest minds across the space operations of the Air Force, our joint services, and the private sector. We aren't just getting ready for the near future, we're getting ready for the 22nd century. When our enemies ask, what if? We will have an answer. When foreign powers can build bases on the dark side of the moon, when private companies are inventing a new economy beyond our planet, we need to stay one step ahead of the future. The future is where we'll make history. We will fight in an environment with no up or down, no left or right, where there are no borders and nowhere to hide. Our Space Force is defending our country, here on Earth and wherever our mission takes us. As commerce and exploration expand, we will imagine the unimaginable, anticipate the inconceivable, and prepare for the impossible. We won't just think outside the box. We'll think outside the atmosphere, in one of the most challenging environments ever known.
Now, how you like that logo right there? Does that logo look familiar to anyone? Does anyone ever wonder why logos involving NASA and the United States Space Force are all like shaped like an A? Well, some say it is to honor the Andromedans. But of course, if you're not into this like I am, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. Before I go further, shout out to those of you in the chat. Shout out to those of you on Facebook, on Twitch, on Twitter, and on YouTube. Hey, what's up with it, Third Eye? We've also got Miss Deirdre Helena in the building. Class culture, baby. Diddy loop loop. Hey, boo, what's up? It's good to see you. It's good to see you. I know this is pretty interesting to you, knowing your military background and everything. And did you hear what he said? Nations building bases on the dark side of the moon. That's already been done. A lot of what is, what was being said there. It's like, okay, we already know that there's bases on the dark side of the moon. We already know this. We know that there's also colonies that exist off planet. Does anyone ever wonder about the Foo Fighters that were fighting in World War II? These were uh, German made UFO craft known as Foo Fighters. And the United States, in Operation Paperclip, recruited these German scientists, even though they were murderers and had killed over 6 million Jewish people during the Holocaust. They were so smart, right? Because they had the key to the technology that the United States wanted. And what they wanted was they wanted some of those craft. They wanted to be able to have a UFO too. They want to go faster than the speed of light too. So they hired hundreds of German scientists. This was known as Operation Paperclip. And essentially, a lot, and I mean, come on, the head of NASA at one point was a German Nazi at one point. Unbelievable, huh? When you really look at the history of it all. What if I was to tell you, and shout out to Linda Moulton Howe over at Earth Files, shout out to Ian over there as well, her moderator and her whole crew over there. She leaked inside information to us. I don't know how long ago it's been, maybe a year or so, that there is 3 long distance craft currently in space right now that have already visited 26 different solar systems or different arms within our solar system, the Milky Way. One of them is called the Hellenketter. There's 3 total, and they are operated by a type of species known as the tall whites. And we work side by side with them. And working with a tall white is like, from what I've heard, working with someone who has the brain, has like 10 computers for a brain, who can literally go in and navigate in and out of timelines to solve problems, which to you and I makes no sense. But that's because we just don't know how to do it yet. We also don't have the brains of 10 people, right? But these beings have the ability to just amazingly navigate in and out of these timelines to solve different engineering solutions. They're very, very intelligent. Okay. These aren't the demons or the fallen ones. All right. Now, again, 3 ships that we know about. But see, let's not forget about Gary McKinnon, who hacked NASA. I think it was the early 90s, 92, 93, I believe. I could be wrong on the date, but we found out back then that we had long distance craft that was traveling throughout space, even then. In the 90s, when you and I, those of my generation, were having our children, we had spacecraft traveling light years away from Earth. And to the thought of that was just it's impossible, right? It's even impossible to think about right now. Well, it's so interesting that the same files that Gary McKinnon managed to hack with those same names, including the names of the terrestrial officers and the extraterrestrial officers. It's so interesting that these seem to be the same craft that we now hear are out in the Milky Way exploring. They're actually out in the Milky Way exploring, looking at different moons, planetoid objects, meeting different humanoids, and doing a lot of trade. Oh, there's a whole lot of trade that goes on in space. And one of the and I'll get you started here, and then I'll tell you need to go check out Above Majestic when we get off of here if you want to know more. But back in World War II, after Operation Paperclip took place, a lot of Nazis left Germany, and they had already secured and built a base down in Antarctica. There's a lot of talk and a lot of rumor about Antarctica and what is there. Reptilians that run that, part of the world, so to speak. And I don't want to get too much into the reptilian aspect of it, but it's like Germany gave up after the Allies stormed those beaches. And would it surprise you if I told you that we had colonies on Ceres and Mars and other planetoid beings? Would it surprise you if I told you that the rings of Saturn are being created technically? And they seem to grow each year. There seems to be more and more rings. Is it possible that it's some sort of a communication mechanism? Would it surprise you? Did you pay attention to what went on, I would say about a month or so ago with the green lasers? Not only did we have green lasers coming out of Earth from our polar regions in Antarctica, or no, it was the North Pole. Same thing happened in Jupiter. Green laser, bright as day, caught on camera, coming right out of Jupiter. And, lasers are, if you were to put two laser beams together, I fully believe, and with my engineering background, that you could stimulate conversation over those laser beam points. Just like you can have conversation over fiber, glass, right? Fiber optics. Just like you can have conversation over network cable, Ethernet cable, wires, right? You're sending packets, data packets over this, whatever, that is, right? And I fully believe that information packets can also be transferred across lasers faster. Fiber optics were around in the 50s, but we didn't know about it until the last 20 years. Amazing commercial by the Space Force. And I find some of the stuff that they say just so suspect. And it's like, just come on out here and just admit what we already know. We already know that the United States is in possession of craft of non-human origin. We also know that the United States is in possession of bodies that are of non-human origin. Period. But they will not tell us the truth. They refuse to tell us the truth. They absolutely refuse to tell us the truth, but they want us to continue to foot the bill for them. So, just as another note, a really interesting note in all of this that's going on, right, is that the Pentagon UFO chief, Sean Kirkpatrick, is now retiring. Yes, Sean Kirkpatrick has said he is done. He is now resigning after warning about aliens and rival technology. Quote, If we don't prove it's aliens, then what we're finding is evidence of other people doing stuff in our backyard, and that's not good, end quote. So, the chief of the Pentagon's UFO investigation division is stepping down in December. This is according to the Department of Defense. Again, Sean Kirkpatrick, who is the director of the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office known as ARROW, announced his retirement after a 27-year career in the department and the United States intelligence community. He announced his plans after leading the department for 18 months, and he stated that sightings of objects flying in the sky over the U.S. are either aliens or technology of rival nations. He went on to say, "I'm ready to move on. I have accomplished everything I said I was going to do." And this is according to a conversation he had with Politico. Now, he said that he still wants to finish wrapping up the first volume of a historical review of the unidentified anomalous phenomena issue before leaving office. Now, Mr. Kirkpatrick warned of the presence of UFOs after studying more than 800 instances during his tenure as director. And while there has yet to be while he was there, right, he has been yet to bring forth any firm evidence of aliens, but he felt the alternative was actually much more frightening, saying that if we don't prove it's aliens, then what we're finding is evidence of other people here on Earth doing stuff in our backyard, meaning we have been compromised. It would be better if it was aliens, right? So anyway, this announcement comes barely a week after Mr. Kirkpatrick stated that ARROW will create a reporting mechanism for current and former U.S. federal employees and contractors who have witnessed U.S. government-related actions involving unidentified anomalous phenomena. The system was established just months after former U.S. intelligence official David Grush testified before Congress that the Pentagon had recovered wrecked vehicles of unknown origin containing what he said was, quote, non-human biologics, end quote. Now, Mr. Kirkpatrick claimed that he has frequently requested Mr. Grush for additional evidence to back up his assertions and has received no response. The Pentagon has insisted that it is unaware of any reverse engineering efforts, craft recovery, or discoveries pertaining to non-human biologics. And may I just interject here and say the reason for that is because these programs are operating above ARROW. So ARROW has no idea. These programs are operating above ARROW. You have to be read into these programs, and they're operating in a manner in which ARROW would have no idea about it. Okay? Now, the Department of Defense did praise Kirkpatrick's leadership and credited him for building the organization's first website that was accessible to the public. That probably took an hour. I don't know. Anyway, his commitment to transparency with the United States Congress and the American public on UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, and that he's leaving a legacy the department will carry forward as ARROW continues its mission. And I got to tell you, I don't like the sound of that. No. See, I like it when they go out with a bang. If the Pentagon UFO chief ain't coming out with a bang, then it's iffy to me. First off, he's resigning, right? He wants his, he's been there 27 years. He wants his military benefits and all of that. But the fact that the Department of Defense is giving him all these accolades and he hasn't even left yet, that's basically making sure that he's going to keep his mouth, what? Shut. How much are we really, really going to find out from him? It's going to take people like him who have worked within the government to drop something that they cannot deny. And I see stuff all the time that I know the government's full of it. Guys, there's all sorts of things going on in this world. And now there's an old clip. Before we get out of here, I want to show you something. An old clip. This clip has been surfacing since VHS tapes existed. And I know that because I had it on VHS tape. You did hear me when I said many, many times before that I have literally collected a lot of clips over the years involving aliens, UFOs, all that sort of a thing. And this was one that I collected that was actually on VHS tape. So when I see someone say it was on the dark web, I say to myself, gosh, no, it wasn't. It may be on the dark web now, but it wasn't 20 years ago. I want you to check this out. And this is actually very, very real. This made the news. This alien's body was found hanging on a fence post during a very cold night, almost frozen through and through. Okay.
It's fine.
He said one day.
If I can get it to do it. Sorry, if I can get the right clip. Thank you.
This haunting footage of alleged photographs of an alien's body has surfaced via the dark web. The body of the creature was found on a snowy night in Quebec, Canada 1992, by 3 snowmobilers. The person who found the alien and photographed the creature did not want to release the photographs. A friend of the photographer secretly recorded the photographs on a camcorder and only recently released it anonymously on the dark web. The video was uploaded with the file name EB 1992 Eager, deep within the dark web. Is this footage authentic? Are these real photographs of an extraterrestrial? Are they really here?
See, I hate narrators like that. I really, really do. I despise them. It's like, are they really here? Dude, they put it on the dark web and no, this has been out on VHS tape forever and a day. And that's just my moment where I just want to take a moment and say to these people that are covering UFOs and aliens and things like that, like, get your information correct if possible. And I've made mistakes out here. We all do, but that's just outright just lying. It's just outright lying. Anyway, it was on VHS tape. There was even police officers that showed up to the scene. Don't know whatever happened to that alien being's body, but I'm telling you, this is it's time for us to wake up, people. It really is. It's time for us to wake up. And I mean, what is so bad about it, right? Let's say there are beings from other planets. What is so bad about that? Here, I'll tell you what the worst thing is. We can't even get along with each other for the sake of skin color. Could you imagine meeting some beings from other planets that are purple, blue, teal? Oh, you racist people are going to have a fit when that happens. Oh, you're going to have a fit. God forbid you see Krishna walking down the street. You can't stand darker hued people as it is. We're not ready. And that's what's so sad. And a lot of you people hold all of us back as a collective because you can't even wrap your mind around it, right? Anyway, I think we can handle it. NASA, never a straight answer. That's what NASA stands for. Never a straight answer. Listen, we can handle the truth. Now, we know you're not going to give it all to us, but we can handle it. They think there's going to be a socioeconomic breakdown of everything. The churches, all of that. They think there's, all of this is going to just our whole society is just going to break down. And I don't think that's the case. We have a right to know because we all live on this planet and we have a right to know. And here's what's so cold about it. The more that our government lies to us and is not honest with us, it's criminal. It's so criminal. You're choosing to keep knowledge away from us that could potentially save our lives. There are benevolent beings, but there also are some malevolent beings. We could start with the Trantiloid species. These are an insectoid species that are known to come from, I believe, Epsilon Eridani. I'm not sure how many light years away, but these beings, some of these beings are literally conquering different planets, right? Including some reptilian species. And it's like, if you don't allow us to know that this is a potential that could happen, how are we to protect ourselves? We're supposed to depend on the government that has lied to us, who can't even be honest about a UFO craft crashing in Roswell, New Mexico in like in the 40s. It's 2023 at this point. And so I think that it is really long overdue. And I can only hope and pray that we will get some information that's going to be so groundbreaking. It is going to force our government to release some information. And if it ain't our government, I'm hoping that there is a government out there that will put the United States on the spot. I don't know. It could be England, Germany. There's several different governments. We all know they're all sitting on something. This has happened in every country around the world. Some governments are more sophisticated than others. They got crash recovery programs and all this sort of a thing. What if a government comes out and says, yes, the United States has been, telling lies the whole time, and we worked with them with this and that? Oh, that's going to be insane. Maybe that's what it will take to get them to tell the truth. But I got to be honest, I don't feel any sort of like fluttering in the stomach when it comes to Sean Kirkpatrick's resignation. Okay, it made the news. Woohoo! You get to go off and retire while we all sit here, and continue to be lied to. All right, period. Shout out to the Leak You community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
Like you lost another one.
Make sure you follow our Discord. We just had some wonderful donators boost our Discord server. Again, you can get to the Discord by going to discord.gg/leakyou. That is the only form of communications that I have within my community. I do not do behind the scenes. If you've sent messages to me in the DMs, I do not respond to them. It's nothing personal. It's just, I get too many of them. So I stopped doing that about a year or so ago. So don't expect responses in the DMs. If there's people I've talked to within the DMs, that's different. But I don't take any new requests. You want to communicate? Come into the Discord. All right, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you for coming through. Until next time.
91, 92, when we was like the first ones to really freestyle on the screw tape. Me and Fat Pat, we was going hard freestyle on screw tape. And we just put it down, man, screwed it. It's like we went platinum underground on screw, not knowing that would help us later in the real reality of the sales in the stores, all that really helped. It just laid out for a lot of help. Kiki them out, Pokey out. helped all of us out really just going platinum underground, you know what I'm saying? So,
The judgment sentence that you are an asshole. The trial is over. Thank you, everybody.
Let's play a game. You have 10 seconds to take all your stuff and get out of my life. 10, 9, 8.
God bless you, motherfucker.
You're really smart. Like really, really, really smart like I am.